The content of Kingdom of Healing with Kimberly Mateo, powered by 710 Radio, is intended for general information purposes only. It is not designed to provide listeners with specific and personal medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional services, or any advice. The programs are not meant to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Individuals with health problems should always consult their healthcare provider for professional medical advice, medications, and or treatments. Kingdom of Healing also does not promote anyone's individual practices, programs, agendas, particular treatments, healthcare programs, providers, hospitals, and or medical centers. The views expressed by show host and their guests are their own and shall not be construed in any way as advice from Kingdom of Healing. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our website. Personal perspectives expressed by the producers, writers, or editors will always be presented as such. We encourage you to always seek professional advice or care for any problems which you may have. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to the Kingdom of Healing or 710 Radio or the show hosts whose words and or opinions appear from or on this radio show.
Live on iHeartRadio, powered by 710 Radio. This is the Kingdom of Healing with Kimberly Mateo. So grab you a pen and a paper, kick your feet up, and get ready for some serious knowledge to be dropped on you. Because Kimberly Mateo is a nationally certified naturopath, master herbalist, iridologist, a nutritionist, and a holistic healer since 1977. She shares 35 plus years of knowledge and experience to listeners who are interested in learning and overcoming health challenges naturally. So without further delay, here is the host of your show, Kimberly Mateo.
Hi, welcome back. This is Kimberly Mateo, and you're listening to Kingdom of Healing. I want to let you know that a lot of the things that I talk about, you can find those products on kingdomofhealing.com. And if you go to the product area of the webpage, it will bring up an A to Z that is a variety of different products, and there is over 600 products. And you'll be able to locate the products that I am talking about. Today I want to talk about, we're here with cold and flu season. Everywhere you drive, you see the little signs on the corner and, going to the stores, Walgreens, Walmart, wherever, and signs everywhere. Flu shots,
Right.
No office charge, just pay for the flu shot. This past week here, you weren't feeling too well.
I haven't been feeling good for 2 weeks now.
No, that's about how long it lasts.
Wow, thank goodness, and I should be on the back end of it.
The end of it. Another problem with everyone who goes out and gets the flu shots, it's usually not even the strain of the flu that's going around. Okay,
I'm going to let you finish.
The other thing is that when someone has a flu vaccine and they go into, they go home, there's what's called shedding. And that goes on for up to 2 weeks after having a vaccination. And you are able to contaminate and expose other people once you've had any type of a vaccination. So
interesting.
Yeah.
And that's called shedding.
Shedding, yes.
Okay.
And what's really sad is they get this whole hype up about flu season. And there's not a lot of people who die from the flu. People who die from the flu are the elderly and those who are immune compromised.
Okay.
And we've done I've done tons of shows on how our immune system can be compromised. We can walk right outside our door and have our immune system compromised because of the metric tons of toxins that are in our air. And a few shows ago, we talked about, you had mentioned how the base that they're putting all of this aluminum and fluoride and a list of different highly toxic chemicals. They're being mixed into the waste fly ash that's left over from the heating process of the coal.
Right.
And that is full of poisons. So they're using that as a base to mix all of these as a carrier for all of these other chemicals. So they're not so much putting things in the water because the CDC finally said that, fluoride is a neurotoxin. So it's to be removed from the municipal water.
That's good, though.
Well, that's very good. But they found a different way for those who live off of the land and have pure, clean wells. They've found a way to affect everyone by doing this, and that's the chemtrails, CHEM, chemtrails. Look them up, Google them. They're for real.
Oh yes.
It's not a conspiracy theory.
No.
It is the truth. And this, even if there are other states that do not participate with that, the way that the jet stream air moves, eventually it's going to be over your state.
Oh, yes. Because of the way that they have to make it work. They have to go out over water and then come back over land. And then as it expands, the jet stream picks it up and takes it. So you're not safe, whether you think that, okay, well, we don't have chemtrails here.
Yeah, so we'll be okay. Well,
do a soil test.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that what can affect another country eventually is in our atmosphere as well. So, very scary. But, colds, for instance, colds are a group of acute, contagious infections that are, characterized by fatigue and fever, chills, respiratory congestion. And the goal with working with colds should be to help the body eliminate the toxins that are, trying to expel from the body. So I'm going to give you some general remedies that have been used to fight colds. And there's other headings that contain specific remedies and specific types of cold symptoms, and I'll go through some of those, like some cold prevention as well, and some things for decongestants when you have colds. And a lot of these things that work for colds work for influenza as well. And one of the things I've talked a lot about is the immune system. There's no infections that can take hold when we have healthy cells in the body. But then our environment. We can spend 90% of the time being very conscientious about organic foods and drinking alkaline water and having your pH in balance. When that pH is in balance, it creates a terrain in the body that will not give viruses and bacteria an opportunity to take hold in the system, and then consequently you become sick. So if you go to the Facebook page of Kingdom of Healing, there's a link there for the water purifier, and there's like 3 different water purifiers. I have the one that costs like $8.95. We love it. We use it all the time. It's an amazing product. It's wonderful. But they have some other ones that are more expensive. But I don't think there's one that's over $2,000. And there is one out there that sells for $4,000.
Wow.
And that's how the $8.95 one came about, because the engineer who had watched a friend opened up a package and pulled this thing out, and this guy could not believe that something could cost $4,000. Really. He was very, very shocked. And he ended up purchasing one on his own because his friend wouldn't let him take his home and take it apart. So he purchased one, he took it apart, and then circled his table for a while, just shaking his head, going, "You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. $4,000. This is outrageous. People are paying this?" Well, a lot of people are paying it with degenerative diseases because they're afraid.
Right.
And a lot of scare tactics go on out there. So anyway, back to colds and flus and some remedies for that. You know, there's a lot of herbs that can be used to aid the process. There's a product called Ultimate Echinacea. And Echinacea works very well. Golden seal works very well for bacteria-based illnesses. So if you suspect a virus,
which I do,
you take Echinacea. But you know, you can get, from having a virus, you can get secondary infections that are bacterial.
Interesting.
From the breakdown of that, and just from the, the inflammation in the body, the congestion, coughing, and your immune system is just weakened during that point.
Yeah, I know mine is right now.
So without having a pH water machine or picking up any alkaline water, like I had suggested to you, doing...
which I have been doing.
The baking soda. It's a fast way, and it's an inexpensive...
pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, very inexpensive way to bring your pH up.
Yes, and just my experience of doing these, I've been doing the half a teaspoon in 8 ounces of water. I'll chug it down, and I'm telling you, it makes it feel like my fever goes away for a little bit. And I can tell that it has raised the pH up in my body just because of the way that my insides feel. I can tell it works.
Yeah. And that's, it's so inexpensive. And most everyone has baking soda in the cupboard, in the kitchen.
Arm & Hammer baking soda.
Yeah.
That's it, guys. I mean, buy one box, and my goodness, you can...
It's going to last forever.
Forever.
That is for sure. But Echinacea is one of those herbs. Echinacea and golden seal are two herbs that you take them when you feel as though you're coming down with something, or you have an acute situation going on where you are sick. Then once you feel better, you stop taking those. They are not to be taken long term. Like, bee pollen, I've talked about bee pollen before. It has all your minerals, all trace minerals, vitamins, there's enzymes. It is a wonderful product for building health. And now bee pollen is something you can take every single day.
Okay. But
Echinacea and golden seal you cannot. And golden seal, once it's done with taking care of any bacterial-based infection in the body, once that is taken care of, then it starts working on your blood sugar. So it works wonderful for people who have diabetes.
Okay.
Because it helps to lower the blood sugar. But if you're not dealing with a high blood sugar situation, which would be, hyperglycemic, hyper is high blood sugar. So that's going to help to bring that down. Cedar berries is another one that works and is better to use long term. But I'm just saying that if you take golden seal for too long, you're going to start experiencing some low blood sugar symptoms.
Okay.
And always the best thing when you do that, it's protein. don't run for a candy bar. Don't don't go for a pop. And a lot of times, the best orange juice is when it's fresh squeezed,
Right.
or else it is very acidic. So, if you take the ultimate echinacea, or there is an echinacea purpurea, there's also the echinacea golden seal combination. Those are to be taken at the onset of a cold, and it often prevents the cold from taking place. But this it does have a slightly suppressive effect to it. The best approach that you can do is to take herbs that help flush the irritants from the early stages in the early stages of the cold. Drink plenty of fluids. There's another product that is fabulous, and it's called CC-A, and that's in capsules. And for children, there is the CC-A with yerba santa, and it tastes very good, and it's very easy to get that down the little ones if they're having symptoms of a cold as well. The other thing that works well is taking care of that immune system. Probiotic 11 for a child, 1 capsule, a little bit of a teaspoon of applesauce. Just kind of mix that up, give it to them with a little bit of water before they go to bed. For an adult, I have them go through a couple of bottles and take 4 of them right before you go to bed. Build that gut bacteria up. There's over 50 billion live bacteria in that, and you want to do something that has at least 50 billion or more. So there are 11 different strains in that particular product.
Okay.
All right. Silver Shield. Talked about that before. Silver Shield has been tested up against 8 of the really big gun antibiotics. And it holds its own with taking care of viruses and bacteria. But antibiotics take care of bacteria. Okay, so antivirals are what take care of viruses. So one thing that's nice about the Silver Shield is that you don't build up a resistance to that like you can if you're taking an antibiotic for a long period of time. If you're on and off antibiotics all the time, you will build up a resistance. The Silver Shield, you don't do that. There's also the Silver Gel that you can wash your hands really, really good, and then put the size of just a little drop of that on your hand, in the palm of your hand, and rub your hands together. That's also something that kills bacteria and viruses on the hands. A lot of these things that you see everywhere, all of this antibacterial soap and all of these antibacterial wipes, you see them at the grocery store. You go into the grocery store and they have them right there that you can wipe down the carts. But you need to know that this is a chemical-based antibacterial. And there's a lot of research coming in that the chemicals that are used for that, it's very hard on your liver. And you need to remember, your skin is an absorption organ. What you put on your skin will be absorbed and into your bloodstream within 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's pretty scary.
Oh, yeah.
You walk in any store that has a cart anymore, at least I know this in the Denver metro area, there's always the little box there that you can pull them out, wipe everything down. I'll usually find something else like the end of my sleeve or something to put around the end of the cart. But elderberry Plus is a product that elderberries inhibit viruses attaching to the cells in the body.
Interesting. Okay.
So Elderberry Plus is in capsules, and then there's the chewable Sunshine Heroes elderberry that is for children. And they're delicious. They're in a base of, we have a product called Tygo that is delicious, and it has a lot of very high antioxidant fruits and vegetables in it. And one of them is mangosteen, and it's absolutely delicious. And so the Tygo, you can have the liquid, you can have that on hand, do an ounce of that a couple times a day if you're sick, or preventative measures, an ounce of it a day, along with some probiotic 11 before you go to bed at night. You know, there's things that you can do to just keep that immune system up and in really good condition. Having on hand as well the silver shield in the liquid, as well as the silver gel for wiping, putting, like I said, put a little drop of that on your hands and rub your hands together after washing them real well. And that also takes care of bacteria and viruses. Spicy herbs. That's something I told you about. You were doing that too. I know you said that was hard to get down. Cayenne pepper. And if you don't have cayenne in capsules, I'm sure you have cayenne pepper in your cabinet.
Uh-huh.
So capsicum is the botanical name for cayenne pepper. And I was having you do that as well.
Yes.
With the baking soda.
Yeah, no, I didn't do them together.
No. But you were alternating doing them.
Yeah, yes. And to be honest with you, I did the cayenne pepper at night.
Okay.
So throughout the night, I would go through a couple of shirts where I'd have to get up, change it because I was soaking wet.
Sweating it out.
Oh, yes. So, and I knew by about 3 o'clock in the morning, okay, that bout's over with.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up, and when I took my shirt off, I was like, okay, there was no
chills.
Yeah, so
chills.
And I felt normal. Now, so I go back to bed, wake up, I would do the baking soda right away, and then I would get something in my gut, and then I'd do the emergency.
Right.
So
and that's also a really good product, and it's really great to see that there's a lot of places that you can pick that product up, that emergency. And they have a variety of different ones. They have ones for cardiovascular. They have the immune system. They have inflammation. And all of them each packet has 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. And the worst side effect that you're going to have with vitamin C is you're going to get loose stools. Oh, well. That's the body, a lot of times when you start feeling sick and you are dealing immediately with loose stools, it's the body's way of eliminating toxins as quickly as it can. So that's not a bad thing.
Okay.
So if you do one package, that's 1,000 milligrams or 1 gram. And if you end up doing 4 or 5 or 6 of them a day, you're not going to overdose on it. And remember, the nutrients that are in there, I've said this before, when you're sick, you need 5 to 7 times more the nutrition in order to overcome something. And it's good to not put, when you're sick, heavy meals into the stomach. The body is trying to fight something. It needs its energy to fight that, not digest all that food. So that's where clear liquids, hot broths, and soups are really good.
Yeah, I took all dairy out. While I've
that's
been
mucus
sick, I haven't
forming.
had, which is odd for me because I'm a huge dairy fan.
Yeah, it's very
so,
mucusy.
Not to have it for 2 weeks,
Uh-huh.
Well,
Well, your system should feel a little cleaner without doing that, all the dairy. But spicy herbs taken in large doses with a lot of water are really good for eliminating colds with a thin, watery mucus drainage. The other herbs that are good is ginger, That helps to take care of that nausea. And
Oh, yeah, you're
yes.
right. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think of that.
Yeah, ginger also stimulates the wall of the stomach to release hydrochloric acid. So it helps with the breakdown of any possible undigested proteins that are floating around in the bloodstream, because those you can run into problems, illness down the road with a lot of undigested proteins. So
Wow.
hydrochloric acid is extremely important. Those little hydrochloric acid pumps, they don't need shut off. A lot of this, where there are medications out there that shut that pump off, what that does is you then do not have enough hydrochloric acid to break down the proteins that you ingest. What happens over a period of time of shutting that down is the acids that are going on in your stomach is actually from putrefaction, because the food is sitting in the stomach. And I've said this numerous times. You need to remember, our internal body temperature is 98.6. Stop and think about a 98-degree day outside. It's hot.
Yes.
Think about something that might be on the table outside, or the deck, or the sidewalk. What happens is, there's a lot of bacteria very quickly. So internal body temperature is 98.6. If you have food that's undigested and sitting in the stomach, and it is not breaking down, it's fermenting. It's creating a lot of acids just from the breakdown of the fermentation. That is what a lot of this acid reflux stuff is. There's a lack of good digestion, fermentation of food in the stomach that is not able to be broken down properly. So hydrochloric acid is something that is needed to make sure that you do digest. And if you don't have food in, that's an awesome product. It's a wonderful product. One tablet will digest 20 grams of protein, 30 grams of carbohydrates, which is a lot. The ginger and garlic or capsicum every 1 to 2 hours with a large glass of water is really beneficial. Avoid any heavy foods if possible. Clear symptoms of Now, white willow is very used. Now, with children, we know that with children, we never use aspirin for any flu type symptoms. Because aspirin can go into a disease called Reye's disease, R-E-Y-E-S, and it can be fatal with children. Okay, so for that fever, sometimes working with the fever, getting in a nice hot tub. It sounds strange to get into a hot tub when you have a fever, but what happens is you start perspiring, sweating, burning, working with the fever, and you're hydrated, you're in water. The risk with fever is when you dehydrate, because the fever is hot. You can't dehydrate in a tub. And then what I've done over the years after doing, putting one of my children or grandchildren into a tub and working with that fever is when they come out, it's olive oil and garlic oil all over their feet and their ankles. And just like with essential oils, So APS2 with white willow is for pain. Nerve 8 is another combination that is high in nervine herbs, which feed and relax the nervous system. Those herbs also are high in B complex. They also help to break down and expel the mucus in the respiratory system. There's an awesome product called ALJ. And ALJ comes in capsules. It comes in what's called a Vegetab. Now the Vegetabs are one-third combination in the Vegetabs. So if you buy a bottle of 100 capsules, as opposed to the 100 count Vegetabs, you're going to get more in the 100 count Vegetabs. It's more like getting 133.
Oh, okay.
So I prefer the Vegetabs. There's also ALJ liquid for children. And the children can take orally the Silver Shield. And if they're complaining about their ears, so if you get with the head cold, you get the sinus congestion, that backs up, it affects, the ears, there's pressure in the ear, pain in the ear, or it goes into an ear infection. You can put 2 or 3 drops of that Silver Shield down into the ear, one ear at a time, and make sure that they hold still for at least 8 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
And that kills any bacteria or virus that's going on in the ear. But if you're still dealing with a lot of that sinus drainage, that's draining down the back of the throat, it's draining into the eustachian tubes, and it's making its way into the eardrum.
Dang.
Okay,
Wow.
so that's a good way to take care of that.
So now, I went back to work one day, and when I did, we got all these, everybody's a doctor, right? But one guy was like, "Oh, you need to start doing colloidal silver every day," and you
Colloidal
won't.
silver.
Now, is this silver gel
Silver gel.
I mean,
okay,
silver shield or
yes.
is silver gel a comparable product?
Oh, absolutely.
Would it be better for you than the colloidal silver?
The thing is that colloidal means water suspension.
Okay.
And the Silver Shield is a water suspension. The thing with the Silver Shield is that it's nanoparticles. It's minute. Because what happens when you take silver in, silver makes its way into the cell, through the cell wall, and it pulls oxygen with it. The silver pulls oxygen into the cell.
Okay.
And it brings oxygen into that cell. And oxygen kills bacteria and viruses. Some of these systems, home systems that people have, and they're making their own silver, sometimes those particles are too big. So when you take that in, it puddles, it can't make it through the cell wall. And it puddles outside of the cell. But what that does is, since silver pulls oxygen to the silver, it will pull any oxygen out of the cell if it's not able to make its way through the cell wall.
Interesting.
So the nano silver is a way, and there's been a lot of studies done on this particular nano silver. I would not ever feed my family, give to my family these homemade silver, colloidal silver.
Very interesting.
Concoctions. Okay. I wouldn't do it because you have to guarantee that particle is so small, and it's nanoparticles. You've got to make sure that will make it through the cell wall and do what it needs to do, because If you're taking in silver particles that are too big and it can't make it into the cell, and it's pulling oxygen out of the cells to the silver element, you're not going to get well. You're going to get sicker.
That kind of common sense right there. I mean,
yeah, because oxygen will kill viruses and bacteria that are within a cell. So, we're coming into fall, but it doesn't matter. You can get sick at any time of the year. You can get a cold in the summer. You can get the flu in the summer. It's not only just because it's fall. Yes, it's more common. But in my home, there's always silver, the silver shield liquid. We always have the tubes of the silver gel, because you never know when you're going to get a cut or a scrape or something happen where maybe you need a few stitches. And you're going to want to put that silver shield. You can spray that on it, and you can then put a little bit of the silver gel on top of that and wrap that up. My oldest son is a tattoo artist. He loves the silver gel to put on over the tattoo once that's done.
very
It's antibacterial. It's antiviral. One thing that's becoming real common is a lot of people, MRSA lives on the skin. And when you get breaking that skin to put a tattoo on, it's not uncommon nowadays that a lot of people end up with a MRSA infection from their tattoo. It's pretty common.
okay.
Very common. And then you're in an area where people are coming and going, and maybe they have 2, 3, 4 chairs set up, lounge-like esthetician chairs is really what they look like, and or they got some recliners, and you got people in and out of there, and they have skin contact. So,
Right, didn't even think of that.
because a lot of the equipment that's used nowadays is pretty much all disposable.
Okay.
So you always want to make sure if you go to a tattoo artist that everything that they use is disposable.
and disposed of from the last time.
And you're watching them throw the stuff in the in the little hazmat bucket. Yeah. So, but anyway, MRSA is airborne. It's on doorknobs. It's public places. It's on the windows. I mean, we all walk up to plenty of places to go to open the door up, and just the window enough of that door is enough to stop you in your tracks, and you're turning around, open it with your shoulder or put your back up against it. That's really, there's not a lot of people that seem to keep up with keeping the doors all wiped down and cleaned, as well as the windows and the door handles. So
Right.
that is it's a good breeding ground
Oh, sure.
for a lot of viruses and bacteria. And then you touch your face, you scratch your arm, whatever. And this is the way you start passing stuff around and getting yourself contaminated. So back to, my son likes to use the silver gel. And that makes sure that there's no bacteria or virus that takes hold.
That's cool to
Over
hear,
that.
though. I mean, that he takes that type of care and pride in his, not only in his work, but to make sure that the person receiving it, has an enjoyable experience as well.
And he's been doing that since the 90s.
Really, very cool, man. I'm glad to hear that.
The 90s. Now, if you've been exposed to MRSA and it was airborne in the shop that you were in, and it settles on your skin, or you have it on your skin, and then you just put petroleum jelly, Vaseline,
Right.
that's not going to prevent a virus or bacteria. I mean, if you want to keep it moist, and he has done in the past putting silver first, and then A&D ointment on that, because the A&D also is in it, but it's also in a base of petroleum, which is not good for the skin because petroleum comes from oil.
Right.
So that's not really good to put on the skin, but he will put a layer of the silver gel first, and then put the A&D ointment. Some people like to use that triple antibiotic ointment that you can buy at the store. Neosporin. Okay, Neosporin on that. But those are all in a petroleum base. So those are not things that are good to put onto the skin. So for aches and pains, I talked a little bit about the APS with white willow, the Nerve 8 to break up and expel the mucus in the respiratory tract. The ALJ works excellent, ALJ liquid for the children, and it will break up that mucus. There's fenugreek in there. Fenugreek liquefies mucus in the body. Hardened mucus, it liquefies it so that you can expel it.
Interesting.
Okay. Fenugreek is that's that strong kind of. There's a kind of a strong smell to the ALJ, and that's the fenugreek that you're smelling. There is garlic is very good for, it's nature's antibiotic. Very good for fevers. Very good for bronchitis. Any kind of respiratory problem. And and the worry that you have with cold sometimes is that going into like a pneumonia.
Right.
And pneumonia settles deep. That's infection that's deep down in the bottom of your lungs. And sometimes it's harder to diagnose. They need to do an x-ray on that to see. And usually what happens, I do iridology also. And recently I was sitting with a man and I was charting everything that I was seeing. And I said, "You had pneumonia." And he says, "Yeah, I had pneumonia a few times. How did you know that?" And I said, "Well, you had pneumonia in your left lung. It wasn't in your right lung." And he said, "I did have pneumonia in my left lung." "How do you know that?" And I said, "Because what I'm seeing here is there is some damage to the tissue, the bottom part of your left lung. Pneumonia damages lung tissue, and it's never 100%.
Oh no,
Again,
I've got a new set. I had to have a quarter of her lung removed.
Yes. It's true. It's very, very serious. Very serious. Golden seal again is good for any type of bacterias. It's good for the latter stages of cold when the mucus begins to thicken and become discolored.
Okay.
Because when it gets discolored, that's your sign that there is an infection there. When your fluids that you're expelling from your body are clear, a lot of times that's the beginning part of a cold, or it is an allergy reaction. But when it starts turning yellow and green and it's got some colors going on, that's infection. And that's where the golden seal comes in. Olive leaf is another one that is excellent for that, for infection. Oregano oil. And that is some tough stuff to get down. Oregano oil. It will chill you all the way to the bottom of your spine. Actually, you'll shake to your feet. That oregano oil is intense. So, very much so. It's good to diffuse oregano oil. And use and put some oregano oil on a cotton diffuse that in the air. Okay. Tofu oil. That essential oil is something that I've used for over 30 years. That particular oil is extremely potent. You can mix it with coconut oil or fractionated coconut oil and put some tofu oil into that. You can rub that onto the sore muscles if you're dealing with the flu and the aches and pains in the body. It hurts so bad. It hurts so bad. The tofu oil, we do have the tofu massage oil that comes in a 4-ounce tube, which is a pretty good size tube. And you can rub that into the muscles and the joints where they're sore. The tofu oil, you can put also a couple of drops of that on the palm of your hands and rub your hands together and cup that over your face and just breathe that in. The other thing that works real well to breathe in is there's a specific combination that is specifically it's called Breathe Free.
Okay.
And that one is really good. Clove oil, cinnamon oil, eucalyptus oil. You can also get the eucalyptus, the actual eucalyptus, and put 6, 7, 8 of them together and tie them together.
Okay.
Hang them where your shower head is at. And as you're taking a shower, the smell, the aroma from the eucalyptus leaves, that opens up your sinuses. That's also very therapeutic. Really clears the head. And after a good hot shower, you're able to move a lot of mucus from the head area and from the respiratory tract.
Right on.
And
Okay.
that's real easy to do. So the essential oils can be inhaled, and those relieve the sinus drainage, the pressure. When colds involve fever, there's a wonderful herb, bone set. And colds and flus, bone set is something that the Native American Indians used. And they would use it when they had what they called bone break fever. That's what the Native American Indians called it.
Okay.
Bone break fever.
Okay.
So with just going through the flu, you can relate to that. You have fever, your bones hurt so bad, you do feel like they're going to break. Bone set is the herb that you take for that. And you can even make a tea
Interesting.
out of that
Okay.
one. Add it with some green tea. Green tea is awesome for the immune system and helping to get that immune system strengthened up. IFC is another combination that's used for inflammation. Yarrow, it's a blood purifier. It's also very good for colds. Colds and flu. So wherever there's pain, aches and pains, the yarrow works really well for the muscles and the bones. Boneset is also excellent as a cold remedy. Now, lobelia, and I've talked about this before, lobelia is the king of the nervines. Lobelia has the ability to gather poisons and help the body to expel them. But lobelia also is something that can induce vomiting. So you have to be very careful with lobelia. A very small amount goes a long ways. Like you would never, like ALJs for, say, a cold or respiratory congestion. Yeah, you might take 4 ALJs every 3 or 4 hours.
Okay.
You do not ever take 4 lobelia every 2 or 3 hours. does gather toxins and it does dispel them. So lobelia is very good to be used with caution. And then there's the lobelia essence, that is the extract. And that is something that is excellent for not only seizures, but asthma. If you're having difficulty breathing, you can't oxygenate, half a dropper of lobelia under the tongue. It's very hot. Over 4 decades. And that HCPX is very, very good for colds and flu. FV is another one. That helps with the nausea and dizziness. FV. Okay. The silver gel can be used as a prevention with, as a natural hand disinfectant. It kills pathogens that come in contact with the skin for a period of 4 hours, or until you wash your hands again. It's some incredible stuff, and there's been a lot of studies on it. A lot of the doctor who is behind the nano silver was an infectious disease doctor for World Health Organization for over a decade. And this is pretty much what he does. This is his baby. I mean, World Health Organization, what he has been around the world and witnessed as far as illness. And there was a time when a lot of this nano silver went over to Africa when people, I don't know, it was 5, 6 years ago. Stuff that went over, and they donated all of this nano silver, and they eradicated it in a week. So yeah, you can cruise into a health food store and you can go online and you can buy a little machine to make the silver. But when it comes to something like that, I want something for my family that is quality control tested. I want to know that it is in the particle size that it needs to be, so that when I give it to my family, I know it is safe. Because we all know about the blue guy.
Right.
We've talked about the blue guy before.
And that was colloidal?
That's yes, colloidal.
Homemade.
Yes, homemade colloidal silver. And the reason that he turned blue was because of the oxygen that was in his body. And, he ultimately died.
Yes, he did. An example of cooling on the outside.
Yes, pulling the oxygen out of the cells. And then when there's no oxygen in the cell, virus and bacteria take over.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so it's worth it to buy the quality stuff, because you're going to get what you pay for.
Right.
And a lot of people still, and I understand. Everybody has, there's all different, financial situations with people. And it's wonderful if you're able to afford those things. But I do understand the struggle it is for people who financially cannot afford those things. But it's better to buy one bottle and realize that there's such a wide spectrum that it takes care of from a viral and bacterial standpoint. And you don't need very much. So you don't need to take like tablespoons and tablespoons and tablespoons of this stuff. It's potent. It's strong. And take it when you're taking a silver, a liquid suspension silver. Do not put it into juice. Do not put it into water. You should have 15 minutes to 30 minutes of no fluids.
Okay.
And then you take a dosage of that. And then you wait 15 minutes to 30 minutes before you take any type of fluids into the body. Because it's going to change the equation with that silver if you add that silver into a liquid. Okay? So they have it stabilized at what it needs to do to penetrate that cell and take care of what's ailing you. Okay?
All right.
Influenza, the flu, that is viral infections accompanied by nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, fever, fatigue, body pain, respiratory systems. And, the media, they're always constantly warning us to, line up and get the flu shot because of scares about flu epidemics. And the truth, like I said at the beginning of the show, is very few people die from the flu. And the people who die from the flu are the elderly and those with the compromised immune systems. There's numerous effective natural remedies for the flu. Prevention, one of the best things we could do is just simply constantly wash our hands good. Wash them good. Use some soap. Soap them up.
Good old bar soap.
Yeah, clean the hands. The silver gel, again, natural hand disinfectant. And it's safe. It's not going to give you a toxic liver. It's not going to be a chemical that the liver has to filter. And let me tell you something. Everything that the liver has to filter, it then gets passed on to the kidneys to filter. So you can compromise not only your liver, you can compromise your kidneys. And our kidneys, unfortunately, they don't signal us until you've got some problems going on.
Right.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So there is other things that you can use to boost the immune system. There's a product called Immune Stimulator that has a variety of adaptogen herbs in it. It has the mushrooms in that. Mushrooms are the reishi, shiitake, maitake, mushrooms, turkey tail. Now there's not turkey tail in that, but there are medicinal mushrooms that are serious with taking care of immune problems. Okay, so there's the colostrum. I've talked about the colostrum product before. And then there's the colostrum with the immune factors, which is a base of mushrooms again. Open and empty that. Mix that in a little applesauce or a little bit of yogurt and take that in. If you take a good antiviral remedy like elderberry plus or the Uña de Gato combination, those things on a regular basis, you can take elderberries on a regular basis. You cannot take echinacea and golden seal on a regular basis, but you can take elderberries daily, and that's a great preventative for colds and flus. I talked about the Silver Shield, that's the liquid. You can get it in the gel. HCPX, the FV, the IFC for inflammation, the CCA. And then under the liquid herbs for children, we've got the CCA with yerba santa. We have ultimate echinacea. We have golden seal echinacea. Liquids. So the little ones, there's things that you can use for the little ones or for those who have difficulty swallowing capsules.
Okay.
Okay. APS with white willow, IFC, aloe vera, ginger, essential oils, the Breathe Free, the Tai Fu oil, eucalyptus, jasmine, peppermint. Peppermint's wonderful. And peppermint in your car too. If you're not feeling good, put some peppermint oil on a cotton ball and just leave it in your car. Your whole car will smell like peppermint.
Okay.
And then you don't have to worry about some toxic air freshener in your car, because there's a lot of information out there on these air fresheners and stuff. People are spraying all over in their house, and they're hanging them in their cars, and there's toxins that emit from that. And if you keep them closed up into a car that's hot or too cold, it's emitting those things. So peppermint oil, pine needle oil, essential oil, all of those can be found on kingdomofhealing.com, and search that A to Z. And like I've said before, sometimes I think people find it very hard to navigate through that. It will come up unique nutritionals on that. It should, but if you get into kingdomofhealing.com, you can either go to the products and click on the A to Z to bring up the product, or go to the search bar on the upper right side of the page. And when you're adding those into your cart, when you get to the end, it asks if, unfortunately it's set up at retail, but you don't have to pay retail.
Nope.
Go to where it asks if you want to be a member. And for a $40 order, there's a free membership. And then with your next order that you put in, you get a 20% discount on the next order that you put in, up to $200. It also gives you the advantage of monthly. You'll get a call from the company, and it's just one of those robocalls. And it'll give you the days. There'll be 3 or 4 days where if you order during that time, there's only $1 shipping.
Okay, all right.
Which is great.
Oh, yes.
Which is great. 2-3 bottles of 100 count capsules or 60 count capsules. Those sometimes can go by what's called mail innovation. That's U.S. Postal Service. They'll deliver that right to your door. However, it does take a few more days. If you do UPS, you'll have it in 3 days. So that is all for today. And I look forward to being here next week. And everyone have a great week. And we'll talk to you then. Take care.